we actually were looking at syndicating a 10-unit villa complex within Panama City Beach. Is just across the road from beach access. We were trying to get some investors. It didn't end up working out, which was unfortunate, but even fortunate, when we actually were able to manage it. The owners that were trying to sell it were so impressed with what we were looking at, the details. They fired their current management company and gave us the contract. And so we were able to work with them in peak season, which almost instantly doubled our revenue. And so that was a huge growth driver for us. And again, it was, kind of right place, right time, I guess, being able to, leverage that partnership, what we didn't even know was a partnership at the beginning, into a very lucrative one for both sides. So
welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chatting with, Cody Cramer, who is a real estate investor and short-term rental operator. So excited to have you here today, Cody.
thanks for having me, Michelle. Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're navigating the short-term rental space. So we can dive into all of that.
Perfect.
First off, for those who are not familiar with you and your work, can you share what your main focus is?
Yep. Happy to. So I am a short-term rental owner and operator. I operate across 3 markets, particularly in the Southeast. So in the Destin, Panama City Beach area, also in Myrtle Beach, and then up in the Smoky Mountains. And I've been a short-term rental operator for almost 2 years now, as far as this business goes. So I co-own a business with my partner. It's called Ascent Co-Hosting. And we've leveraged a couple partnerships to be able to buy a couple of properties, one in Panama City, one in Myrtle Beach, and then we also actively manage others as well. And we've certainly had our fair shares of wins and losses as far as additional deals over the last 2 years. So my main focus is really growing that business. I went from 0 to 30 properties and about $2 million in revenue in 18 months. So it certainly keeps me busy at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. How did you get started with your investing journey?
Yeah, so I think specifically in short-term rentals, I've been in the hotel industry, or I was in the hotel industry for about 10 years. And so I think having to manage vacation rentals, which is back in the day, in the mid 2010s, everything was very manual. Everything was pretty new, I would say. Airbnb had just launched. And so had a familiarity with vacation rentals, really enjoyed the hospitality of everything. And then I think as I kind of grew in my career, I really wanted to start to really buy some assets and really start to kind of plan out generational wealth for my family and for my kids. And so being able to invest in real estate and pieces of property was something that was very, very interesting to me. And so I thought, why not combine both of these desires and experiences? And, it's kind of dumb luck how we started our management company, but certainly am thankful for the ride so far.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, amazing. And what do you feel have been some of the main keys that have made the biggest difference in allowing your business to be able to grow at this rate and to run smoothly?
Yeah, I think one of the main things we've been able to do, and I would defer to my business partner on this because he's a lot better and seasoned at it than I am, but I would say creating strategic partnerships and relationships with people. So we grew from 0 to 10 listings in a few short months only because within a mastermind network that my business partner was a part of, we came across a financial advisor who was advising his clients to buy short-term rentals. And then, we struck up a relationship and, he wanted to pass somebody off to have this be managed since they weren't going to actively manage it themselves. And so we created this nice pipeline to be able to fund and get started with these first 10 properties. And then we've had a couple other key partnerships that we've been able to leverage as well to help with some of the growth.
Yeah, amazing. How are you coming across these partnerships? It's just through like basic networking, or is there a specific strategy you're using?
Yeah, so I just referenced the first one with the financial advisor through a particular mastermind, but I'll share the second one, which is part of the dumb luck kind of thing that we had. So we actually were looking at syndicating a 10-unit villa complex within Panama City Beach. Is just across the road from beach access. You had like a rooftop party deck. They were 5 stories. They were each 5 bedrooms. I think the retail price was like $15 million. And so we were trying to get some investors and people in place to try to actually buy this. And it didn't end up working out, which was unfortunate, but even fortunate, when we actually were able to manage it. The owners that were trying to sell it were so impressed with what we were looking at, the details. They fired their current management company and gave us the contract. And so we were able to work with them in peak season, which almost instantly doubled our revenue. And so that was a huge growth driver for us. And again, it was kind of right place, right time, I guess, being able to, leverage that partnership, what we didn't even know was a partnership at the beginning, into a very lucrative one for both sides. So,
Yeah, amazing. And when you have these partnerships, is that in terms of like sharing the roles or raising capital or kind of everything in between?
yeah, I think, the way that we were trying to structure that villa was a management, almost like a GP-LP structure. So we were going to have a limited partner in place that would have been a holdover from the original seller group. And then we were going to get a bunch of GPs and even a few more LPs in place to fund the deal and then for us to be able to run it. So that's how we structured it. I would say with the ones that we procured from the financial advisor, like those are just management plays. So hopefully the goal is to help have that arm of the business be able to help fund additional purchases down the road, additional capital needed for investments in the future. So that's the goal.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors. and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, amazing. And what do you feel was the secret to your success in scaling at such a rapid rate?
Yeah, I think for us, we were filling a specific need for clients. So again, we got connected to a really nice network. These were high net worth individuals originally that just didn't want to manage these assets. And so we were able to come in and manage that. And then through that, we were actually able to utilize that partnership for these owners and actually buy a duplex in Panama City Beach where my business partner and I are partners on that. The structure is we're basically the general partners. We didn't bring anything to the table other than our management skills. And we were able to bring in limited partners who provided the capital. And then we ran with it, still have it today. And so those are some unique benefits of having that pipeline of people, because then it gets connected to another person. And again, I'd give a lot of credit to my business partner, because I'm not as good as he is at connecting those pieces, but I think that's important in a partnership, to be able to have people that leverage skills that maybe you have opportunities to grow in, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. That's super crucial. What are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next in your business?
Yeah, right now for us, if anybody out there has short-term rentals, once you get to the 10 unit or 10 door mark, things really start to ramp up as far as challenges and complications and just needs of the business. And so I found that once we hit that 10 mark, we really had to start creating some structures and processes in place. My business partner and I originally were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants and trying to figure it out. And once you get to that level and then you start to continue to bring more properties on, you really need to dial in your business. And, that would go for any business just in general. At some point, you've got to kind of grow up and have the right processes in place. And for us, those processes are mainly being able to really pass off or hand off specific responsibilities, like day-to-day operations, to our team, so that we can be freed up to pursue additional partnerships or management contracts or something else. And, you have that saying, work on your business, not in your business. And so I think that's what we're trying to do now, so that we can be set up for growth, for additional opportunity down the road. Because if all your resources get tied in the day to day, then you really can't plan strategically how to grow your business. So that's what we're actively focused on, coming up in this new year in 2026.
Yeah, that's important to have that structure in place to continue to scale. What are some of the main challenges you've experienced, and maybe now looking back in hindsight, you have that wisdom and that lesson that you wish you had previously?
Yeah, I think there was, for us, when we were starting a new business, I think there was a little bit of trepidation on our part. When we're going into a new business, we want to be able to, have the right partnerships and people in the room. And I think sometimes we were a little bit too deferential in, hey, this is how we're going to structure it. These are the components that we're going to include or not include. And I think early on, I probably would have been a little bit more forceful, whether it be contract terms, whether it be, closing particulars. Like, those are things that we kind of just early on were a little bit more deferential on. And I think those can set you up for even greater success if you do those things right. And so that's certainly an opportunity for us, I would say.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, absolutely. What is maybe some advice you would share to people that are looking to start getting into the short-term rental space?
I would say if you don't have any experience, I'm happy to help, or I'm happy to maybe recommend people to help. I would seek some, maybe not necessarily mastermind type, but there's opportunities to learn and grow. It's unique and it's dynamic, and I think, it has the highest level of return as far as the type of rent that you can generate from a short-term rental, compared to long terms or mid-terms. But it also has a lot of risk associated. And if you don't underwrite it correctly, you may be underwater pretty quick. And I've seen that firsthand with some clients. And so I think get help, seek help. Whether again, it's a mastermind or a coaching program or something, it'll help expedite your growth and your knowledge, but it'll also help you avoid those mistakes. And again, when you're getting into the space at the beginning, one of the great things is, just like in real estate, you can snowball this into the next one. Well, it may take you a lot longer if your snowball from the beginning is really small, or maybe it explodes or something. And so you really got to be careful, and you want to do this the right way. So I would seek some help.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any maybe advice or tricks that you have for how people can maybe mitigate risk and access more of that profitability?
Yeah, I think I would say probably in real estate in general, but certainly in my niche in short-term rentals, you win or lose the deal, not just in purchase price, but even before that in the underwriting. And I'll give you just an example. In the first deal that I did, it was a partnership, and I felt like we underwrote in a kind of positive way, and we kind of dotted our I's and crossed our T's. But one thing we didn't account for was the new tax assessment, which the purchase price went from, the owner bought it in '09 at $1 million, and it, sold for 1.6 or whatever it was several years later. And so we didn't account for that. I don't know how we missed it, to be honest, but we didn't account for that change in assessed value. And so when we were underwriting, we underwrote it at, I think the taxes were like $10,000 or $12,000, and they almost doubled because of the new purchase price. And so those are little things that, they seem simple, but when you're underwriting a short-term rental, you've got to account for every single thing. And of course, in a real estate deal, you do as well. But I'm talking things like what are utilities going to cost? What's the property insurance going to cost? What are the supplies that you need to run the place? Like, what is all that going to cost? And so I would say that's a big mistake, is if you can get your underwriting dialed in. And I always would lean towards more conservative. So if you think a property is going to generate 100,000, I'd probably shave that by about 10%, maybe a little bit more, just to be conservative and say, okay, if this passes the sniff test, when we're being ultra conservative, then we know that if it does what we think it's going to do, then, it's going to be that much more additional revenue or profit for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's some great advice. You had mentioned like working on your business, not in your business. What does that look like? Like, can you expand on that?
Yeah, so for those that, again, aren't familiar, within short-term rentals, one of the key components when you're operating is you've got to regularly check and adjust your pricing. So if you're in a long-term rental, the price is what it is. Maybe you adjust it every year. But in the short-term rental space, just like hotels, you've got to, and they would call it dynamic pricing, you've got to adjust your pricing every day. And imagine doing that across 30 properties, each, 52 weeks out. So you're pricing a year out at least. That's a lot of time and effort if you're really going to devote to each individual property. And even if you spent 5 or 10 minutes, on each of those properties for multiple times a day, several weeks out, it takes a lot of time and effort. And so one of the things I'm doing to work on my business is I've actually partnered with a third-party vendor to help me manage that. So they've got a full dedicated team that's managing, dynamically pricing all of my properties, and then I've got to check in every 2 weeks. So I have the oversight, I have the kind of line of communication, but I don't have to go in and daily do it. And I knew that, over the summer I missed revenue for my properties because I couldn't be in there every day because I had to work on these, 5 or 6 other things with the business. And so that's one of the main ways I've been able to start to work on my business, because it's freed me up to do some of these other things that I just haven't been able to get to because of this one revenue management component.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of moving pieces to deal with, so it's good to have those extra systems in place. Are you looking to expand and get into like different markets?
Yeah, I would love to. I think for us, we're already in 3 markets, specifically on the management and ownership side. I wouldn't want to go into a new market unless it was a package of properties. So maybe it's 3 or 4 or 5, just from an economies of scale. If you're managing 3 different teams in 3 different markets, and then you've got a fourth team that you're adding, but it's only one property, usually the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And so we would want to be strategic about bringing that on. We almost brought on a company or a client. They had, gosh, I think 8 or 9 properties in like the Kansas City area. And so that would have been a great opportunity for us, or even we had an opportunity with a portfolio in Austin, Texas. Like that's what we would want to do as far as expansion. But we do want to grow, our management and ownership or partnership business. We want to continue to grow that. I think real estate's a great investment vehicle in the long term. And so we certainly are actively looking for deals for ourselves, for even just our network of investors. We've been able to assign a couple of properties to investors that we know, and they've been able to get in. They got in last year at bonus depreciation, got in this year as well. And so those are the opportunities that we're looking at for ourselves and for others.
Yeah, amazing. So before we wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you and connect?
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. So our website is Ascent, so ASCENT, ascentcohosting.com. But I'm happy to help or chat with anybody. You can email me at Cody and then our website at ascentcohosting.com. And I'd be happy to chat, set up a call, shoot the breeze, maybe strategize, whatever it may be. I'm happy to help.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time, your story, your perspective. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Michelle, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And for those tuning into the show, if you got value, make sure you've subscribed. We've got more conversations coming with operators who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.